In your face, all over the place. We're online 24/7. 24/7. You're listening to the hottest internet station.
Radio Hall of Fame Basketball. The first NBA radio for all the fans around the world. Radio Hall of Fame Basketball. We talk about NBA. We talk about passion. We are your radio.
NBA fans, NBA League Pass is your ticket to all of this season's action.
Fires a long one. Oh! He's done it again.
Every exciting matchup.
Puts it in.
Every incredible shot.
Right-handed hammer.
Every big moment. Every game live and on demand in HD quality on every type of device. Wherever you are, whenever you want. NBA League Pass has you covered. Sign up today.
Thank you all for coming. Appreciate that. It's been a while since I've done a news conference here in this room, so I feel like it's brand new almost. Before we get started and formally introduce Kobe Altman, I thought it would be a good idea actually to introduce some guys that have been here for, years and years actually, working in the front office. And so we really wanted the media and also the public and season ticket holders and supporters to understand how deep our front office is. And so there's 4 or 5 guys back there. I'm going to go through them one at a time because sometimes they don't get all the accolades and get credit for all the work that they've done over the years. And these are guys who grind it, who get it done every day, who are just about as smart as anybody I've ever met and work as hard as anybody. So there's 4 guys. I'm going to call you guys. It's okay. You guys back there? I can't see too well. Getting old, Okay. There's a gentleman, I think you know this guy because he was a local basketball star, but he is going to be the new assistant general manager here at the Cavaliers. He's been with us for 6 years. He's a Cleveland area native. He played basketball in West Virginia, set all kinds of records over there, played in Europe. He was with the G League, that was formerly known as the D League, now the G League. And as the Canton Charge general manager, he was also the G League Executive of the Year. He's a great talent evaluator. He's a great guy. He's a grinder. He understands basketball as well as anybody. He's played it his whole life. Has great insight and very, very smart and scouted for many years. So Mike Gansey, are you back there, Mike? There's Mike Gansey. Just stand up for one second. Don't be shy, Mike. Just for say hello. Okay? There you go. So that's Mike. Next to Mike, or I don't know if he's a couple seats over, it's a gentleman who's been with us for 12 years since I was fortunate enough to buy the franchise. He started off as an intern. He's emerged over the 12 years to become probably one of the finer capologists in the league. I mean, he knows more about the cap than probably PricewaterhouseCoopers knows about the IRS code. I mean, this guy, he lives with the cap. He lives with the collective bargaining agreement. He's deep in it. He comes up with ideas and things that the league's never heard of. They have to go into their committees to check if it's okay or not, and he's sort of a savant with this. And he's now going to be, or he will be, the new senior director of basketball operations. He's a space creator. It means he creates space, not the kind of space in here, but the kind of space that Kobe will need in the cap as far as that goes. He's involved in a lot of trades, probably every trade in the last few years in a creative sense. He was instrumental in the New York Knicks trade. You remember that one? About a year and a half ago. And he's an Ohio native. From some farm town near Toledo, Brock Aller. Hey, hi, Brock. Next guy up, been with us for 4 years. Originally from Miami, Florida, although he doesn't look like a guy from Miami, Florida. Went to Harvard, and I believe a stint at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, but graduated from Harvard. He's the senior director of analytics. Did a run with the Milwaukee Bucks, but he's been here again for 4 years. Numbers are his thing, metrics. There's not a stat or a number or an analytic that you can think of he won't come up with in like 7 minutes. And we've challenged him on it. And he works with the coaching staff to provide them with analytics, numbers, background, metrics. But he doesn't just have that. He also has a great insight into people. John Nichols. John. Oh, John. And then last, certainly not least, he's in his 3rd year here. He will be the director of scouting. He's an Akron native. He's also going to lead on the college scouting. He's a relationship guy. He knows people in basketball from the college ranks up and through the pro ranks. He did play here at Walsh near Canton. He's very great. He's a very good cultural guy, but really understands the game and understands the people in the game and is connected to just about everybody you can imagine. And also a great talent evaluator, and that's Brandon Weems. Brandon, right back there. That worked out all right. Okay, good. Okay, so those are, and there's more. There's more hardworking guys here, but those are the 4 guys at sort of the senior level that are going to help Kobe here. And Kobe, just to give you some background in case you don't have it, I know there was a news release, but started out, he's in his 6th year here. Started off as the manager of pro player personnel, became the director of pro player personnel, and then became assistant general manager. He's a Brooklyn native, Brooklyn, New York, product of a single mom household, and he, I use this term grinded, but this guy grinded his whole life. He went to Middlebury College, where he played basketball. That's in Vermont. Actually received a leadership and academic scholarship to get into Middlebury. I'm told Middlebury is one of these East Coast schools that are high academic type of thing over. And he was a 3-year starter as a point guard over there. And also he has a long history, an extensive history of USA basketball, which is very, very important in today's world. And I'll let Kobe talk about that in just a moment. Kobe's a special guy. He's a relationship guy. He knows basketball. He's what I would call a guy who's street smart and book smart, and he's got both sides of the fence. And I've got to tell you, I'm as proud as I've ever been to name somebody a general manager. This is our 4th general manager in our ownership stint, and I never felt as well as I do, or as good as I do, and I think a lot of people share that sentiment. So Kobe Altman here is a new general manager of the Cleveland Cavaliers, and one of the youngest general managers in the league, but age is a number, and I believe in Kobe, and I think he's going to be here for a long time doing great things. So Kobe, welcome. Here you are.
Thank you very much, Dan. I'm humbled. I'm honored to be here. This is a very exciting time for me and for our group that was acknowledged in the back. I want to thank Dan Gilbert for believing in me, but really believing in our group that's been here. We have had unprecedented levels of success here the last 3 years. We've been to 3 straight finals. We've won an NBA championship here, and a lot of that has to do with the group we have in place. We have a tremendous depth of talent here in the front office, and just like Dan talked about with our guys, highly intelligent, capable people that are motivated and driven every day, very process-oriented, and they know what it takes to be successful because we've done it before. We also have incredible depth of talent throughout the building. We have a great coaching staff led by Coach Lou. The back of the house, we have a great performance staff. And then we have great players. We return a great team. And so, me and Dan talk about it, but it's unfortunate sort of the narrative that's going on right now, in terms of where we're at. This thing is not broken. We are a very successful organization, and we're going to continue to drive for that success. Get better and grow. Obviously, adjustments need to be made every year, but I want us to be very prideful of where we are as an organization, and how good we've been, and how good we'll continue to be. It's interesting. This is a promotion, and it's an incredible promotion. I'll thank you for that. But I've been here. I know this organization really well. This is going to be my 6th year here. I know the cast of characters really well. I've worked across all levels of this organization, and I have deep relationships across all levels of this organization. And I know I can now lead this organization because of that. But it's more of a belief that Dan has in us to continue the success that we've had. And I'm ready for that challenge. And with that, we will open it up for questions.
There's Associated Press. Thanks, guys. Congratulations, Kobe. Dan, it's been widely reported that KYRIE IRVING is asked to be traded. First of all, what was your reaction to that? And then secondly, will you honor that request?
Well, as it's been widely reported, I sat down with KYRIE IRVING and his agent a few weeks back. I don't know the exact date. And we do this, we try to do this every summer. And I think most of them we have. as we've done with other players and their agent, and whether their contract's coming up or not. And there was several scenarios discussed at that time, and I don't feel it's appropriate really get into the details of all those scenarios. And so, I don't know the sources of the report that there was a trade request made. I read it in the media like some of you reported and some of you read, but we talked about a wide range of possibilities in the future. At that time, we had not signed Kobe yet as our general manager, and there were a few other moves, I believe, that have been made that weren't made at that time. So, these things are fluid. We think that KYRIE IRVING is, one of the best guards in the NBA. He's part of a championship, 3 years straight to the finals, and we value his talent significantly. So
he's a core piece of what we've done. KYRIE's a tremendous player. He has made great contributions to this franchise, and we enjoy him as a player, and we're going to keep sort of the stuff in-house in terms of what was said in those meetings. But he continues to be a core piece of who we are and what we do.
David Grenneman, ESPN. For Kobe and Dan, if you're not going to get into those meetings, that's fair. What's happened in terms of the franchise communication with KYRIE since then? If you want to, protect that information, okay. But where do things stand with KYRIE IRVING?
Sure, we've had dialogue with his representation. It's a fluid situation and something that we're just not going to address right now.
JordanClean.com. I have to ask straight up, do you intend to trade KYRIE?
I don't want to talk about that. Again, like I said to Dave, we've been in touch with his representation, and it's a fluid situation.
Jason Lloyd, The Athletic. Dan, as we were going through this with the GM situation, it was discussed many times over that no GM has ever gotten a second contract from you, and I'm curious why you think that is.
I haven't really thought of it in terms of the second contract. I actually have to think about that as you're saying that. So, we've had 3 GMs here that have lasted an average of 4 years each, which is a presidential term. And I think these days that's 4 years is 4 years. And I never really looked upon it as why not a second contract. I will tell you that, each time we've had different circumstances among whether or not Danny Ferry was here 5 years, and I think Chris Grant was here 3.5, and I think Griff was here a total of like 7 years, 3.5 of them being as general manager. So, today's world, information is moving faster than it's ever moved before, and this is just not in the NBA or in basketball, but inclusive of basketball. So you have information coming at you so fast, moving so fast, and more of it than you've had in the history of the world, really. And we always talk about this in our other businesses, and I think decisions and moves, big ones, have been made or are made quicker or faster than they used to be. And again, I'm not saying that's the exact reason or the only reason, but I think that it's things move faster, and this in a lot of our businesses, not just here, and in other people's businesses as well. And there's also people who are talented individuals who, if you look at somebody's resume and who's a talented person, they tend not to be at the same place. You can probably look at a lot of your guys' resumes, and probably most of you probably in the last X amount of years are probably more frequently moved than previous years, because industries change, things change, and that's part of sort of the overhang of, or the overview of why I think some of this happens. But I do feel extraordinarily positive about this team. I'm walking into this building here today, and the narrative, I guess, that our front office is in disarray. I mean, these guys 5 years ago, from the night that Griffin and I both just sort of decided that it didn't feel right moving forward. And it wasn't for, by the way, another thing I just want to make sure that I put out there, had nothing to do with money, had nothing to do with specific trades or players or anything like that. We just philosophically and culturally had a little bit different views of how things were going to go forward, and the team here that we have, and the guys I introduced, and other guys I haven't introduced, and Kobe. It's a feeling. You go by feeling. Sometimes you go by experience and by knowledge and all that. But I do feel as strong as I've ever felt about a team. I think these guys have killed it in the last not 21, it's more than that now, 5 to 6 weeks, 4 to 5 weeks. And I think they'll continue to kill it.
And Jason, to your question, like just taking a step back, these are tremendous opportunities, right? They're 1 of 30. If I told you 10 years ago when I started on this journey, when going back to UMass for sports management to get my advanced degree in that, if you told me 10 years from now I'd be sitting up here with Dan Gilbert as the general manager of Cavaliers, I would have told you you're crazy. These are unbelievable opportunities. They're great opportunities for us. We have a great team, and we're really excited to keep this thing moving forward. In terms of David Griffin, the biggest testament to him is he's got us all ready for this. He was a tremendous leader for us, and that's what he did. That's the best testament to him, is he has all of us ready for this challenge.
Terry Polito, Plain Dealer. Dan, you basically, you have at this key juncture there a rookie GM, and yeah, he's been here 6 years. But, frankly, he's kind of number 3 in the pecking order. With whatever's going on with KYRIE IRVING, obviously KYRIE has had all kinds of chances to deny he wanted to be traded, and instead he's posting videos. So, how do you? What do you say to the fans to say, look, this thing is not, in real trouble here?
Well, how's your guys' summer going?
Yeah.
Well, exactly. Let me talk to that a little bit, Dan. So, another thing that no one's talked about during this whole process is our head coach, Coach T. Lou, who remains a rock and a huge cultural piece for this organization. He's a tremendous human being, but he's also just a relationships guy. Great relationships across the league, great relationships across our team. He's helped us immensely through this transition process with recruiting the free agents and making sure we've been stable. He's a great partner. He's a great coach. He has great instincts. He has great X's and O's. He has great rapport with players. The ATIOs, hat tip to David Minnan. He's incredible in game. But he's just been an incredible partner throughout this whole transition, and he's a great cultural piece for us, and that hasn't changed. That hasn't changed in terms of him. It hasn't changed in terms of our front office, the back of the house, the players. This is largely the same, and we're going to keep moving forward and get better and turn over every stone we can. But like I said before in my opening, this thing is not broken.
And I just want to add something to that, Terry, that, I have the luxury of comparing various businesses to each other. Clearly, the NBA is unique, it's a unique animal, right? And you can only really play the cards that are dealt you. You don't control everything. I mean, nobody controls everything in every business, but particularly in this one, there's certain cards you get dealt, and you can't complain about the cards that are dealt. You just got to look and how can you best play them. And what you try to do is just you take your experience, you take any mistakes you've made in the past, try to learn from them, and you look at everything. You try to get the best people in the best positions, and get them on the right path. And I believe we're going to be competing for championships for a long period of time. I really do, and especially this year coming up. And we're not done yet. We're not done yet. And I think, frankly, for a guy who wasn't even officially in the GM position, we signed Derrick Rose. We're bringing over, Jetty Osman from Turkey, and we've got Jeff Green, and we keep working every single day. There's all kinds of possibilities. It's one thing you learn is you don't control everything. If you're making a trade, there's another team that has to agree to a trade. You can't say we want to trade or we want to do this without the other team agreeing. So you do your best to try to make that happen, but I think Kobe will be particularly good at that when those opportunities come up.
One last thing, Dan. What happened with Chauncey Billups?
Chauncey's a great guy. He's a friend. This, again, was misreported. It's nothing to do with the money at all. For you guys to think that we're in this payroll tax or luxury tax to where we are, and we're going to worry about, relative, I don't want to ever say $1 million or $2 million. The timing's not right. I think it will be. I think one day Chauncey Billups will probably be a great instrumental front office person somewhere. But just with everything going on here, it wasn't the right time.
Yeah, Tony Zarella, Cleveland IT News. Dan, Terry touched upon the social media recent activity and the fact that KYRIE's camp has not denied this. Do you believe that KYRIE and LeBron could coexist? at this point?
Well, they have. Yeah. They really have. I think a lot of it's been overblown. I think the people that are in this building every day haven't seen any of that animosity. This is, and along with Kevin Love, this is a group that has got us to 3 straight finals and won an NBA championship together. They play great together on the floor, and a lot of that I do think is overblown, and we haven't seen a lot of this animosity that's sort of been out there in the media.
I think you also have to look at history sometimes. You look at the other Kobe, not this Kobe, Kobe Bryant. I think there was a time where he was calling radio stations and saying he was going to demand to be traded, and I think 1, 2, or 3 championships after that point. I mean, things happen, and you never know. I'm not saying that happens here, but there's the possibilities of what will happen are wide, and it's not just one path or one track.
Dan, Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com. How would you characterize your involvement in the basketball-related decisions with the franchise this offseason, in the past, free agency trades, and the like?
Characterize it as compared to, like?
How you would characterize it compared to what you've seen from maybe other owners? And
it's hard to know what goes on in the other 29 franchises. That's a good question. It's hard, I never really thought of it in that sense. These guys, you hire experts, you hire guys who do this for a living, do it 24/7, and I'd like to be close to all of our businesses. I like to talk to people, I like to challenge them, I like to ask questions, but ultimately we'd like to give them we pay. Let's put it this way: we're paying Kobe for the value of his judgment, and if we don't let him judge, then we might as well not pay him. So at the end of the day, that's what happens, and. Will I give input and give my just like anybody in the room? But I really encourage these guys and make sure. We even had this discussion not too long ago with all of us, all 5 or 6 of us. I said, you guys, it doesn't matter if I'm the owner. It just doesn't matter. I mean, if we're paying you for the value judgment. You have to, if you feel strongly about something, whether it's me or if it's Kobe or Tanya, but you want to encourage debate. You want to encourage people to stand up for the what, not the who. I mean, the who shouldn't matter here, and ultimately, the general manager makes the decisions. Otherwise, and if you try to, there have been situations in the past, and I won't give years ago that, draft pick here or there, and the general manager made their decision, and you can look back in history and say, well, I have the luxury of, I wish we went this way or this way, but you have to give them credit for standing up, making the decision, and once you start to try to overrule them in a draft room or somewhere else, I think it's over. You can't do that. But that doesn't mean you can't give your opinion, and you can't weigh in, and you can't challenge and ask questions. And that's sort of what I do with most of our business. The guys that are running it, I'll try to get them to think a certain way, challenge them. If you look at every possible thing you can, 360, but they've got to make the decision.
And Chris, I'll say this, Chris. I think Dan's been keenly aware of us and appreciative of our success and what goes on here. We've had great open lines of communication during this transition process, but it's a process that's been going on for years. Again, I've been here 5 years, and me and Dan have had a great relationship the time I've been here. That's only going to grow. But again, I think he understands the value of the guys we mentioned before and us. And yeah, he pushes us, but we're process-driven. We want it to be challenged, and we want to know why we're going to make this decision. But he's a large part of what we do, and the wherewithal he gives us and the resources he gives us to be successful is incredible. And so it's a partnership.
Jeff Shudell, News Herald. You're both making it sound like things aren't as bad as it's been made out to be for this last week. But Dan, especially to you, what can you do to make it so Irving and James can be on this team next year and lead them to one of the championships you're talking about?
Well, again, I think that kind of depth and tactical implementation of a certain strategy. I don't mean to sound like a University of Michigan business school guy, because I went to Michigan State, but that's probably that's at the level of Kobe. And he's living this full time and doing this full time. So, if that's if that's Kobe's first option, first choice, he thinks that's the best way forward for this franchise. He'll figure out a way to hopefully make that happen. But I think that from an owner standpoint, for me to I don't think that's probably the right way. I'm not going to, hey, you two guys, let's do this, let's do that, let's not do that. So, Kobe,
Yeah, and again, I talked about it in my intro. That's the narrative. That's not the truth. Again, we've had people here that have played a large role in the success of this organization that are still here and know how to do it, and know how to do it well. And so, whatever the outside narrative is, that's fine. We know the truth, and the people that are in this building know the truth. The coaching staff, the guys, the performance staff that are under our guys every day. We know our job is to be about the players and help them be successful in any way, add pieces here and there that will help our cause, and that's our drive. Our drive is to get better. We didn't complete our goal last year, and so that drives us. And we're going to maintain a great level of success here, and that's never going to change.
Anthony Lima, 92.3 The Fan, Kobe, right over here. You hear about long-term visions for the elite organizations around the NBA, but there is this uncertainty that is out there regarding your number one guy, LeBron James. How has that impacted the job that you do in team building in the long term? And with this ascension for you and the promotion, how much will the philosophies evolve or change from the previous organization?
It never changes in terms of the goals that Dan sets forth for us, and that's to compete for championships. To your first question about LeBron, LeBron remains deeply committed to this organization. He remains deeply committed to this team and deeply committed to this city. He has deep roots to this city, and it means a lot for him to be here and compete for championships for years to come. That's his goal, and so we have shared goals. We have shared vision. When you talk to him in the off season, it's always about how do we get better, how do we improve, because the goal is singular. It's focused in trying to win championships, and so we're committed to him. But from an organizational standpoint, that's our goal, and that's our task, and so it doesn't really change my mindset in terms of me getting this position. I know what we're tasked to do.
And LeBron's been helpful this offseason. He's been helpful with our players and our recruitment, and he's
a magnet.
We have communication with him often, and yes, it's just kind of crazy when you're reading a bunch of stuff and you're living it, and it doesn't sort of jive together. So,
David Quimby, ESPN, Dan and Kobe, how would you, if you could go back and give us like a summation of what happened with the talks with Indiana for Paul George and what fell through there?
That's been well publicized. I don't want to talk about that. What's interesting is, over the course of the NBA draft, there's 60 picks. In the first round, it's 5 minutes between picks. I probably made 200 phone calls that night, and none of that gets publicized. We're actively trying to get better and discover new ideas and talk to different teams and see what could be available and see what opportunities are out there. It's the ones that sort of don't make it to the media, the ones that you're more crushed about. And so we're very active during that time, and we're also aggressive in trying to figure out how can we get better for this organization. And so I'm not going to talk about that specific trade, but know that we were active during that time, and every team in the NBA was active during that time to try to help their respective franchises.
I will say that Indiana could have done better than they did.
And just a quick follow-up for you, Dan, off Fedor's question. Not comparing you versus the other owners in the league now, but comparing yourself to other times when you owned this team. Have you been more active in the last month in terms of the decisions and
Not in terms of decisions. Yeah, I've had to be more active in terms of figuring out what we're going to do here and who's going to be our next general manager, and spending the time with all of our guys to get up to speed on stuff, and then interviewing and talking to many candidates besides Kobe, which I did. And I just felt Kobe's the best candidate. He's the best candidate of the people we talk to and I talk to. So from that sense, and getting up to speed on the processes and the protocols around here and how they're doing things, and just so I had that knowledge if I'm talking to people about this position. But lucky for us, we're able to keep Kobe here for long term. And what he was just talking about, if I could just say something else, I can't tell you how important it is to have these kinds of relationships around the league. What's a little bit surprising, even for me, I've been doing this 12 years now, I guess, but as an owner, is that how many deals in the league actually get done because of there's relationships between the front office of our franchise and another one. Because sometimes there'll be a trade or something that happens, and we'll say, did we even get an at-bat? Did we get an at-bat to it? Did we talk to them? It's not like a team who's about to make a deal with one team says, well, let me go onto some kind of auction site and see if there's other NBA teams who could give me a better deal. It's a lot of this is relationship driven, and what we have here is one of the best relationship guys in the league, and I think you could feel that and see that, and I think you will see much of that.
Marla Ridenour, Akron Beacon Journal. I understand that we don't know the whole story and all that, but when the commissioner says in the last couple of days that he feels bad for what's going on in Cleveland, and where there's smoke, there might be fire. I mean, have you talked to him, reassured? I don't know, either one of you. I mean, it does kind of send an alarming message to fans.
I have that on my list, my to-do list, actually, to talk to him about that. Which I will, because he was just being empathetic and from stuff that he's reading, but it's. I agree it's a little bit unusual, but he's a great commissioner, by the way. I think he's doing an unbelievable job. I mean, killing it, like an A+. Print that too. Okay. Thank you. Please.
Dan, what do you see for LeBron's future here beyond this season?
What do I see for his future here beyond this season? Well, again, as I was saying earlier, I think in response to Terry's question, we do not control all the cards that we get dealt. A player who goes into any player, LeBron or otherwise, goes to unrestricted free agency. If the team wants them, then it becomes their decision, right? Not our decision. And so, as Kobe though said, LeBron has been as helpful as he's ever been. He's been active. He helped with Derrick Rose, and that's why Derrick Rose is being signed here, or has signed here. And he's been active. He's been responsive, and I really do. I think something, there's almost something that happens. You win a championship, and the next season, there's just, I think, always a natural. And again, it's not like I know more than the 1 year here, right? But there's sort of this natural. Well, are you as hungry as the whole franchise? Are you as hungry as you were, especially after 52 years? And I think when you lost it like we did, and we were closer than people, I think, give us a little credit for. If we didn't give away Game 3 at the end, it'd be a whole different series. It probably won 6 or 7. So although we lost it in 5, I think that it seems to me, and I'm just like as a fan or you looking, LeBron looks like he's he lost now. That hunger is as strong as you saw him the next day. He's working out in the gym, and I think. He is very hungry for this season, but again, I think he'll tell you that too. And I think that, beyond the season, I don't know. We're focused on this season.
He's the best player on the planet, and he's been an incredible partner, especially during this off season. We're very, very fortunate to have him, and we're excited about this season coming up. And we know our goals are aligned, and that's to win a championship.
Jason Lloyd, The Athletic. Dan, I know we've beaten this to death already today, but just one last time, do you expect KYRIE to be in training camp this year when the team reports? Do you expect him to be on this team?
Right now, KYRIE Irving is under contract with the Cleveland Cavaliers for 2 or 3 years, depending on the last year. So as of now, he's one of our best players, and sure, we expect him to be in camp.
Sam Amico, Fox Sports Ohio. Kobe, could you talk a little bit about how the Derrick Rose signing came about and what he's going to add to what you foresee him adding to the team?
So it was an opportunity that came to us recently, and it was brought about by Derrick. He wanted to be in a place where he can play with excellent players and a place where he can play in meaningful games. It's funny, he uses the term, I just want to hoop. And he just wants to be here, and he's excited to be here. He's in a great space mentally, and his body looks great, and we're really excited about him. But he came here for the opportunity to win. He came here for the opportunity to play with other great players. And so yeah, we're excited about him very much.
And, I just want to say one thing, and you know this is just a fact, but I was surprised to see that he's only 28 years old. I mean, it seems like he's been in the league forever, but he is still only 28 years old.
And you know, we signed him on my first official day on the job, so that's not a bad start, right? To sign a former MVP on your first day on the job, it's not bad.
See, I told you.
Kobe, when you look at your roster and just where you are now, I mean, what we're hearing is it compete for a title, get back there, and win it this time. What do you need to do with this roster in terms of type of players to get better?
Well, interesting. We've had an off season that I wish some of you would talk more about in terms of what we've done. We've done the most since I've been here. We re-signed Kyle Korver, who we traded a first-round pick for, so it was good because we preserved the asset. So we kept Kyle Korver for 3 more years. We signed Jeff Green, who's going to be a great rotational piece, who's going to back up LeBron and be a multifaceted forward that can guard on the perimeter in the paint. We signed Derrick Rose, who will be a great sort of off-the-bench backup point guard. He started his whole career, and so he's ready for that role as well. We signed Jose Calderon, who's a veteran and a cultural piece and knows how to play, a basketball IQ guy. And then we brought our young kid, Cedi Osman, over from Turkey, who represents a lot of our youth, and we're excited about him into the future. We've done a lot of things to not only stay competitive, but incremental steps to get better. And it's been an active offseason with, like I said, one goal in mind. And we think we've gotten better. We think we're more talented. And to Dan's point, we're certainly more hungry.
Ace all over the place. We're online 24/7. 24/7. You're listening to the hottest internet station.
Radio Hall of Fame Basketball. The first NBA radio for all the fans around the world. Radio Hall of Fame Basketball. We talk about NBA. We talk about passion. We are your radio.